Hello, hello. Despite all the weirdness of the world, some cycles are continuing to churn forward. We get new seasonal anime, we get new manga, and we get new Magic spoilers. Spoilers for the next major set, Ikoria, Lair of Behemoths, has begun. This is the Kaiju themed set, and I already know one thing about it. There was let's just start looking at the cards, and then we'll talk about full spoiler date. All right, sweet. So there's a few things that we already know about this set, but lots and lots of stuff, of course, that we don't. So we're just going to take one card at a time, and I'll kind of explain the things I'd heard as they come up. Companion. Each non-land card in your starting deck shares a card type. If this card is your chosen companion, you may cast it once from outside of the game. What? What? Wait, I don't quite get how this works. Okay, so it's saying if this is true, under the conditions that this is true, that each non-land card in your starting deck shares a card type, then you can make this your companion. It stays in your sideboard area or perhaps the command zone. This is a very commander-esque thing. And then you can cast it just once, no commander recurrence tax and stuff like that, but just once you can cast it from outside the game. I don't know how I feel about that. It seems like it's entirely just a consistency building mechanic. Like, it guarantees that you'll get this card if you have a certain deck configuration, so that A, limits the range of possible decks that can run this card or can run this strategy, or that might just be viable at all, depending how strong these companion cards are. And B, it's like very scary that, you know, just every game will play out more similarly if you get to cast this one card over and over again. With Commander, of course, there's this element that you're always going to be able to play your Commander, but because your deck is 100 card singleton, it overall is probably a lot more variance, whereas this is still normal constructed, 4 of each type. I don't know. I don't know what I think about that. I'm kind of feeling a little weird about it. So, presumably you're going to make an all-creature deck, and then this helps you cast creatures faster. You choose creature when it comes in. But my understanding is that you could conceivably have an entirely instance deck or something. If you try to force this in Storm for whatever reason, you want to play this instead of just Brawl. But no, this is very clearly just telling you, like, make a deck with put all the creatures in it. Oh, this is from... Okay, but look at the collector number. Okay, now I'm feeling a little better. This is from the commander side of things. That there's the normal set, and then there's going to be... Or wait, maybe not. No, this is just a normal card. Oh, I don't know. I don't know. This is weird. It's already so weird. Let's continue. Huntmaster Liger. Mutate. So this is a mechanic that was leaked intentionally by Wizards by having a card in the latest unset refer to mutate as a keyword, which I think is very cute. It's kind of like the opposite of what they did with Steam Flogger Boss. The uncard's now hinting at black border instead of black border hinting at future silver border. So what does mutate actually do? You cast the spell for its mutate cost. Put it over or under target non-human creature you own. They mutate into the creature on top, plus all abilities from under it. The wording is weird. I don't know why they specify non-human as part of the keyword mutate. That seems really weird. Like, I suppose they're gonna set up some like humans versus non-humans theme in this set. Sure, that's something they also did in Eldraine. It seems like they're kind of setting up a dichotomy between humans and the other creature types, or maybe more generally like the iconic creature types of like human, elf, merfolk, goblin, zombie, versus like all of the kind of wild creature types. But hard coding it into the mutate keyword seems really weird to me. And this is something that Wizards has had a problem with before. They had the mechanic Hideaway. Oops, that's not what I want. They had the mechanic Hideaway on like Shelldock Isle. This is like the most famous version. So Hideaway is such a cool mechanic that it enters the battlefield, you look at the top 4 cards of your library, exile 1 face down, and then under other conditions you can cast that card for free. That's a cool mechanic. But the problem is, when they made Hideaway, they encoded the fact that it has to be a land, that it enters tapped, that it's only 4 cards. Like all these things that should just be gears to fiddle with and opportunities to insert this mechanic into other places. Instead, for reasons truly inconceivable to me, I think just to save card text, they put it all just into this keyword. Because the benefit, yeah, there is still a benefit, is that if we have... no, but they never do it. They always have the full remainder text. Oh, they did put it on... Okay, so the fact that it's a land isn't actually hard-coded. I didn't realize that. But the fact that it's 4 cards and then it enters tapped. Still. All right, whatever. Yeah, this just seems a little weird to me. When this creature mutates, other creatures you control get +X to the end of turn, where X is the number of times this creature is mutated. Okay. You can see 2 forms. So this templating makes it more clear what you're supposed to do. Put it over or under. How would you put it over? Under. I don't know. We're going to have to read the articles about this. I think it's kind of fun to just look at the cards first and try to puzzle how they work. But we can easily read the articles and see what's actually going on. We already looked at this. Okay, this is the other thing that I learned about, because this was like a leak, a really crazy leak, one that almost no one believed. But I honestly thought it was a 50-50 because it was just such a strange idea that it seemed so bizarre. If someone wanted to make a convincing leak, they would never do this. And what it is a crossover with actual kaiju movie franchises owned by Toho and stuff. That King Caesar is an actual character in Godzilla lore. Shows up in War of All Monsters or whatever. And now they're making variant alt cards of real Magic cards that use that name, and then they have like their real name underneath. So for all mechanical intents and purposes, this is the actual name in terms of like Phyrexian Revoker or whatever. But then there's a version that has a different name and has art referencing this character. It's crazy, right? And that's what made me think the leak might be legit, is like, why would you make this up? What a strange crossover to make, too, because the Hasbro doesn't own Godzilla or anything, to my knowledge. Maybe they own the merch rights to Godzilla. That would make more sense. But I feel like the sky is the limit for this, and sooner we're getting Transformers and ponies, and beyond the Transformers and pony promo cards they already have, but standard legal variants of existing cards using Transformers and ponies. Anyways, what does this thing actually do? 1 red, white, black, mutate. Okay. It's hard to evaluate this because I don't really understand how mutate works. I guess let's actually just look at the articles first. If we go to the subreddit, I'm sure we'll find info. C20 spoilers as well, what the heck? Thinking about mutate. Oh, humor. Okay. Here we go. That's what we want to read. Questing piece will get a lot more text now. Okay. Behemoths, after all. We friend our food. Mostly the new abilities may make the difference. Okay. Cycling 1! Huh? Cycling 1? Are you kidding? That's so cheap. That's so cheap. This is actually, this card alone makes cycling in this deck, in this set, seem crazy. You just draft as many of these as possible, you play a few, and then you just start spamming cycling them. What in the world? It's crazy. Alright, but sure. Cycling, we understand. Keyword counters. This is another thing that leaked. This one unintentionally. That there was like a box or something got posted when it shouldn't have had, and it talked about the double-sided keyword counters, and then in the mystery test boosters they had Recycle-A-Bird. There's no way that's how it's spelled. There we go. Recyclabird. Which, when it dies, put a flying counter on target creature you control. So a lot of people kind of saw this coming. And it looks like it works the exact way that people expected. Suitability. Nice. Sure. Yep, I think this is a pretty elegant way of doing it. For this group of counters, having more than one missing counter provides no additional benefit. Now, this is a little different than how the rules worked before. I'm pretty sure before, if you managed to get a creature with multiple instances of lifelink, they would stack, and you would gain life for each lifelink trigger. Is that correct? Or no, or am I remembering when they introduced lifelink, and thus things that used to give the pseudo-lifelink effect that were now templated as lifelink, that was actually a mechanical change because they no longer stacked. Maybe that's what I'm thinking. Anyways, mutate. Ooh, there's a little video about it. It's not a little video, it's a 5-minute long video.
Lair of Behemoths. Mechanic Spotlight. Mutate. Ikoria's wildlife is, let's be aggressive. The creatures out there are not messing around. They have the advantage in every encounter, and if they don't, they'll grow a new body part to gain it. This adaptability is unlike anything you've seen before, and it's represented on cards by the new ability, Mutate. Mutate, as seen on this lengthy being, is a new keyword that will have your creatures stretching their genetic boundaries, changing sizes, and developing new abilities right before your eyes. Here's how it works. Here's Cloud Piercer. Now let's say you want to cast Cloud Piercer. As you cast a creature spell that has Mutate, you have two choices. One, just cast it normally. Hopefully it resolves and enters the battlefield. Effective, but kind of boring. Hardly worth a video. Choice 2 is much more exciting. Casting a creature spell using its Mutate ability requires a target, a non-human creature you own that's already on the battlefield.
You own, not you control. That's kind of interesting.
Casting a creature spell with Mutate means you pay the Mutate cost rather than paying the mana cost. As Cloud Piercer resolves, you choose to put it either on top of Moscow Goriak or underneath it. The two cards mutate into a single creature. Multiple cards? A single creature? This begs so many questions.
Yes, it does.
First, what does our new creature look like? Well, it depends. The resulting creature is everything found on the top card, plus the abilities of every card in the pile. So if you put Cloud Piercer on top, the creature formerly known as Moscow Goriak is now named Cloud Piercer. It's a red 5/4 dinosaur with mutation.
It becomes 5/4.
And vigilance. If Cloud Piercer went to the bottom, the creature would still be named Moscow Goriak, and it would be a 2/4 green beast with the same suite of abilities. As you can see, in most cases, if the creature card with Mutate has better stats than the existing creature, you put it on top. If it doesn't, you put it on the bottom. Now remember that in addition to power and toughness, the creature's converted mana cost, colors, creature types, and name are all determined by the top card. Many Mutate cards, and a few other ones like Zagoth Mamba here, have an ability that triggers whenever this creature mutates. Now, it's kind of little. Time to upgrade. Every time a new creature card joins the pile, all the whenever this creature mutates abilities will trigger. This ability on the new card, the ones on the existing pile, all of them. You can put those
I think I get it.
back in any order. So later in the game, if a new creature card joins the pile, all of these abilities will trigger again, and you can just keep going. Let's mutate again. This time, Cloud Piercer onto Bristling Boar. Cloud Piercer has better stats, so let's put it on top. The resulting creature is named Cloud Piercer, but it has an ability that says Bristling Boar.
Oh, too bad. It's called Cloud Piercer now. This ability does nothing.
Don't worry.
It's tilled. Tilled can't be blocked.
It really just means this creature.
Yeah.
This ability works even though the creature changed names, and Cloud Piercer will be tougher to block. In all of these mutations, did Cloud Piercer enter the battlefield? No. It's still the same creature it was.
It's so weird.
Characteristics.
Doesn't trigger ETB stuff. It triggers mutate stuff.
Before it mutated, the resulting creature will still be tapped. If it could attack this turn, it still can. Mutate give it summoning sickness again. If Moscow Goriak had
very relevant.
Any auras or equipment attached to it, the new creature still has all of those.
Okay.
Same creature, new form. Remember that when you cast a creature spell with Mutate, you need a target. And if a spell has a target, that target can disappear in response. Let's say you cast Cloud Piercer, but in response, Mosk or Ikoria is destroyed.
You get 2 for 1s.
If a creature spell with Mutate has a missing or illegal target as it tries to resolve, it just enters the battlefield without mutating.
What? What? Oh man, Wizards. That's like, they really want to avoid it feels bad. They really want to avoid people getting 2 for 1 trying to be out here mutating. But think about that. That means it's like, I don't know, this is weird. It's just unintuitive. That's not how anything else works. They really, I think, made, yeah, they really don't want the 2 for 1. I feel like, yeah, okay. That's fine, though. That's fine.
Spells with Mutate can still be countered, and if they are, they'll end up in the graveyard.
So it's still a creature spell.
Before we wrap up, I've said card a lot in this video, but you can mutate onto tokens as well.
Sure.
As long as you own them and they aren't human. If you're using printed cards to represent the tokens, this gets a little easier to visualize, but Mutate works the same way. Mutate unlocks awesome potential in even the smallest creatures.
I'm gonna figure out a companion too, but
enjoy Ikoria.
We'll take this as we come. Okay, that's basically how I thought it would work. The stuff about it, if the target is invalid, it just comes down as a normal creature, is weird to me, but I can understand why they do it, because they don't want feels bads. They don't want 2 for 1s. They want to make it a strong mechanic. Sure. I was wondering about how the stats worked. It makes sense, but it seems a little unintuitive to me insofar as, like, to me, the bottom right of the card represents the stats. So to have this, like, stack of creatures, the fact that you have to read some text down here, but then disregard these numbers, read some text up here, and then pay attention to this number, seems a little weird. But I don't know. It's like level up. Whatever. But yeah, with like, I don't know. There seems to be other examples where this is backwards. Okay, but this is interesting. This is quite a bold mechanic. Nice counter. Mutant creature tries to resolve because, yeah, you may not expect. No kidding. Of course. The fact that it's non-human, though, is so weird to me. Like, who cares? Why not let humans mutate, too? Alright. I mean, this is kind of exciting. And I like that it's not linked, it's not parasitic. You can mutate onto any existing creature. I was worried at first that it was going to be more like the unset mechanic of augments and hosts, where they don't really play at all with anything outside of that set. But yeah, I feel like there's some really interesting directions this is going to go. Companion.
Ikoria, Lair of Behemoths. Mechanic Spotlight, Companion. Ikoria isn't for the faint of heart. There are gigantic, terrifying monsters rampaging and evolving into new, somehow even more terrifying monsters, and we should really try to get one on our side. Introducing the new ability, Companion. Everyone, this is Karuga. Karuga, everyone. Karuga is one of the 10 new companions found in Ikoria. Each companion includes a deck building rule that you must follow if you want it to be your chosen companion. In Karuga's case, that means no 1 or 2 drops in your starting main deck. In fact, your chosen companion starts the game in your sideboard. That means it's not even part of your main deck and doesn't count as one of the cards toward the minimum deck size. In each game, you can choose up to 1 companion. Before the game begins, reveal your chosen companion to all players. During the game, it stays revealed, and you can cast it from your sideboard. From there, it's just like any creature. If it dies, it goes to your graveyard, it can get bounced back to your hand, shuffled into your library, exiled, and so on.
So very similar to Commander.
It stays in the game. If you want, you can include creature cards with companion abilities in your main deck as normal. For example, you don't have to worry about the deck building rules if there's just a dinosaur hippo shaped hole in your 5-drops and Karuga has your eye. Ignore the companion ability completely and focus on all the good that enters the battlefield ability can do for you. And before we go, Commander players, we got you. Even though you don't have a sideboard, you can still bring a companion with you. It doesn't count as one of your 100 cards. But remember, your commander is part of your starting deck and has to play along. Companion presents some fun deck building challenges. At the end of it all, you get a new best friend. How great is that?
I'm skeptical of this one. It's like, can't you make it so that the mechanical synergy encourages these sort of deck building challenges rather than just flat out saying on the card, if you want this, make a deck like this? Especially since those decks are either, they're going to be like a very strict dichotomy between playable and unplayable, right? Like, it's not like there's kind of an ambiguity of whether or not you can like pull it off. A deck with no 1 and 2 drops, I'm almost assuredly is going to be bad. But a deck of all creatures, there could be like a broken one. That I don't know. It's a very weird mechanic. A mechanic that changes the deck building rules. We've never really seen that before, outside of like Conspiracy, and that's a draft format. Like drafting these will be so awkward. Okay. All right. Very interesting. Very interesting. Let's see what more they do with it. So this card never mutates it. That's pretty sweet. This seems quite strong. It's 5 mana to mutate. The fact that you can mutate onto stuff and give it double strike, it seems good. Not surprising because it's pushed as this sort of promo probably. This art is crazy. Sure, Dinosaur Cat Nightmare. And this is the normal art. Sure. Bristling Boar we saw in the video. Sure. We saw this guy before, the Macro Sage. I do actually love the term Macro Sage. That's pretty fantastic. But I don't know, like what is the companion mechanic? So weird to me. We saw this in the video. Sure. This is, I think, also from the video. I'm expecting them such beautiful voices. Sure. Cloud Piercer, sure. We saw this in the video. This was the other example from the article about keyword counters. Pretty straightforward. I'm just curious how many keywords they're going to use. I assume all of the vanilla creature ability keywords, but then will they go even further? I think I saw there was like some Easter eggy like hints previews before, where Morrow just posted a list of things that were going to be in the set, like they did for sets way back in the day. I remember reading magazines that would have previews in that sort of format, and I believe there was something ridiculous, like it's going to be like 20 different counters in this set, so yeah, some crazy stuff could be coming out on those counters. We saw this before, and it just seems insane to me. Like, I'm not crazy, right? Like, this is a 2/2 for 2, already fine stats. You can cycle it for one mana. This turns into a random card in your deck. What? And then, if you do play some, you just suddenly turn all of your cycling cards into a clock. There's already like a strong cycling deck in Pioneer, isn't there? Will they even want this as a win con? I'm not even sure, but it certainly seems crazy. Here's another Godzilla crossover. Rodan. Elemental Dinosaur Cat. Is Rodan a cat? What does Rodan actually look like? What way is this a cat? See, this is what, I don't know. I think this idea is like kind of neat. It's like very much inoffensive. It's just fine. Like it's not actually subverting the lore of Magic or whatever. But where I think it seems sort of lazy is like you have this, cool, it's like a crossover, but it's not a cat. And then the card says cat and you're looking at the art and you're like, how is that a cat? You know? Whereas if you look at the original, yeah, that's a cat. Sort of. Well, I don't know. It's what it is. So, flying in first strike, cast target non-creature card with converted mana cost 3 or less from your graveyard without paying its mana cost. Well, that's quite fun. Yeah, I don't know, I kind of like these mutate designs in general. Like, I think it's just quite exciting to basically give a creature flying in first strike and then cast something for free from your graveyard. Is just kind of a nice grab bag of value. And then once you start stacking higher and higher, this sort of like semi-repeatable event, like you need things to trigger it, only a specific subset of your cards will trigger it, but you can still expect it to happen maybe 2 or 3 more times in the game, is a really cool, I think, kind of middle ground of, you know, enter the battlefield type effect and every turn type effects. So yeah, I like these designs overall. It's just not a cat. Why are you lying to me? There's a cat. There's a cat. Okay. Void Beckoner. This is death touch counters. Okay, makes sense. Here we have 3 mana cycling. It's all over the place. Ooh, the Kraken Demon. This was one of the other ones that was put forth in those like Easter egg type spoilers. There's another companion. Your starting deck contains only cards with even converted mana costs. All right. I mean, I applaud them for the boldness of this mechanical choice, and I think it will be fun at first to make decks around it. Like I think the kind of space it opens up, especially at like a casual level, is quite exciting. But at a competitive level, again, it's just like these cards create such strict dichotomies of playable or unplayable. So what does it actually do? When it ETBs, each player puts the top 4 cards of the library in their graveyard, put a creature card with an even merited mana cost from among those cards onto the battlefield under your control. It's kind of cool. The fact you can take your opponent's dude is kind of neat, but I don't know. I do kind of like this combination where Companion makes it more reliable that you'll play this card every game, which is kind of meh. But on the other hand, when you play it, the effect it has could be like very significantly different from game to game, just depending on what creatures you hit. So that's kind of cool. You have one consistency element and then one big inconsistency element, and they maybe balance out. So again, another crossover card. Gigan actually does kind of look like a Demon Kraken. So maybe that's okay. Yeah, you could call this a Demon Kraken, I guess. Yeah, okay. This one is only in French for some reason. Fine. No, in Italian. Gosh. All Romance languages look the same to me, huh? Didn't we just see Void Beckoner? What? It's not like that was a special... Oh, we just got bumped! Oh, there's cards coming out right now. Okay, well, we'll look at those at the end. Alright. Pacifism. That makes sense in this sort of set. This seems like a pretty brutal card. Very cute art. I always like the pacifism art. This one's fantastic. Yeah, they always have a lot of fun with these. Except when it's depicting some like very serious story moment, I guess. It's like a very strict dichotomy. It's like Karn, you know, submitting to the fact that I don't really remember what's going on here, but Karn's not happy, and then so cute. Just wanted to do. I wanted to make base. It's cute. Lutri, the Spell Chaser, Elemental Otter. It's a companion. If each non-land card in your starting deck has a different name. See, that's no good. There's no way there's a competitive deck that plays like that. No? I mean, in Commander, this isn't really a restriction at all, though, so you might as well just have this guy as your companion. This is weird. I can't get my head around it. Flashes in and copies something. Nice. That's actually good utility. The thing is, like, often this sort of copy effect is nice as like pseudo counter magic. That you can. It's like a counter, and like you can subvert a bunch of effects such that it basically just affects the opponent instead of you. But basically, you're holding it up as like a reactive surprise, as something to get your opponent with. But if you have it as your companion, then it's just face up sitting there, and they know, oh, My opponent has 3 mana open. They have Lutri online. So it's basically only like the proactive doubling down type effect that this is useful for, where it doesn't really matter that it's not a surprise, but you just get to cast your big devastating sorcery twice. So I guess that's fine. Not every version of a card has to do all the things that previous versions did, of course. So I'm fine with it. He's cute. Mothra! There we go, insect. True, facts. Mothra is an insect. I actually love Mothra. I think Mothra is like the coolest Godzilla character. So mysterious. Such a weird mixture of like this benevolence that's just beyond your comprehension, you know? I like that kind of thing where it's like, is it caring for us? Can't quite understand. Whoa, that's cool. Wow. What? That's cool. That seems quite strong. You know, you play white weenies, they board wipe or something. You're like, oh, just kidding. Now they're even harder to deal with. Huh, wow. I like it. I like the fact that a big deal moth has such a dramatic effect. Very interesting. This seems very strong. Like, maybe I'm misunderstanding it, but it feels like this is the perfect curve topper for like a white aggro deck. Okay. Luca, Coppercoat Outcast, a new Planeswalker. Exile the top 3 cards of your library. Creature tracks exile this way. Gain. You may cast this card from exile as long as you control. Luca Planeswalker. Very interesting. It's kind of like a weird reverse version of what's that person's name or that thing's name? Shoot, I see it all the time in Vintage Cube. Ashiok. It's like reverse Ashiok. Exile target creature control, then reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a creature card with higher converted mana cost. Woo! Put that card in the battlefield and the rest in the bottom of your library in a random order. Whoa, wait. So, I mean, this is a 5-drop, sure. But the fact that you can do this as soon as it comes down, like, am I crazy? You just disregard this ability. This ability asks you to have a ton of creature cards in your deck. Who cares? You just play like a couple mana elves or other creature type accelerants. Maybe not even. Maybe you just play literally like token makers. Yeah, that's what you do. You just play a bunch of token makers and this guy. Mana rocks and stuff. Then you sack one of the tokens and surprise, now it's Emrakul. Right? Like this it just turns this into some crazy pseudo Oath of Druids deck. Right? That's kind of cool. That's a neat ultimate. But yeah, you just get yourself an Emrakul for 5 mana, seemingly quite consistently. Am I wrong? Play a bunch of token generators in this guy, and that's it. That's the deck. I wonder if it'll happen. I'm sure a million people are going to try it. Then Vivian gets a card in this set. You may look at the top card of your library anytime. I wanted to see the other art too. Yeah, he seems cool. Hanging out with his big cat. You may look at the top card of your library anytime. You may cast creature spells from the top of your library. Create a beast. Put a choice of vigilance, reach, or trample on it. Cast your next creature spell this turn. Search your library for a creature card with lesser converted mana cost. Put it onto the battlefield and shuffle your library. Well, that's pretty cool. But I think you'll find that this is, in fact, a much stronger ability. But I like that they have these kind of opposing things. It seems like kind of two attitudes to like taming the wilderness or something. Nissa just wants like growth and abundance. The more the merrier, everyone please show up. Whereas this guy is like all about kind of dominion and training and evolving these animals. Like only those that I judge worthy will come out of exile. Like, you are not strong enough. I shall replace you with something greater. I don't know. It's a neat dynamic. I like both of these cards quite a lot. I would be very excited about this ability had I read it before this ability. I would already be thinking about some pretty crazy combos you can get with, you know, tutoring things out. But this one is just 5 mana Emrakul, so it's going to be hard to beat that. Luna Apex of Wishes. I wish I could read this text box. Am I right? Anyways, what does this do? So this seems to be the pattern, is it's a 3-color creature and then a 2-color mutate. Sure. When this creature mutates, exile cards from the top of your library until you exile a non-land permanent card, put that card into the battlefield or into your hand. Ooh, that's interesting. Or into your hand. So it's not quite Cascade. And the fact that it's on the mutate trigger instead of the cast trigger also makes it not Cascade. But you get a very Cascade-like effect. It's exciting. And the fact that you can put it into your hand, good with like mutate shenanigans, good with just hitting stuff that's inopportune. Seems like a strong card. Even just playing a 6/6 flying trample for 5. What? Is that how good creatures are these days? There's Ikoria. One of the coolest Godzilla monsters ever, for sure. And maybe I'm just saying that because of my MF Doom bias, but King Ghidorah, take me to your leader, for sure. Another 6/6 flying trampler for 5. Crazy. Oh my gosh, it's the same card. Wow. I got a little blown away by Ghidorah, and then I forgot, what was actually going on here. There's Mothra, normal version. Luna, normal version. Sure. Master Liger. We saw the other art. Sure. Gloom Pangolin. Purely bioluminescent diet. I like that. That's like a quirk that you might actually see from a real-life animal. Pangolin is a creature type we don't see very often. It's a little disappointing that it's just on this vanilla card, but I guess it has like pangolin-y stats at least. What other ones have there been? I'm curious now. Not a whole lot. Weird cards. Sure. There's the hippo guy. There's the other art of him. The other art of her. How far do we get bumped back? Just by 1 card. There's Godzilla. The man himself. Lethal damage dealt to creatures you control is determined by their power rather than their toughness. So it's like the opposite, yeah, it's like the opposite of all the ones that attack based on toughness, like Dorian and Arcades and stuff like that. That's cool. It's cool that they've finally done the opposite. This makes some cards kind of crazy. There's like, what, Giant Insect or whatever, that's like a 6/1, and the various red balls and stuff get a lot scarier. Yeah, that's neat. This seems like an insane mechanic worthy of finding its way onto the Godzilla card. It looks like we haven't seen the normal version of it. This is the Buy a Box promo. I see. But there will be a normal version as well, I'm sure, of this Zillothra. Okay, we're caught up. Let's see what was added. Hey, there's another Godzilla. I guess it makes sense there's 2 Godzillas. Everybody loves Godzilla. This is a vanilla, or not a vanilla, but an uncommon 11/11. What a set. When you cycle it, put a trample card on a target creature you control. So this is one of the ones that was leaked. And people were like, why would they bother making a crossover and then make Godzilla an uncommon? But of course it's because there was multiple Godzilla cards. I see. But again, it was like that sort of weirdness. It's like, yeah, why would they? And then it starts feeling more real than fake, actually. Grim Dancer. There's a battlefield with your choice of 2 different counters on it from among Menace, Death Touch, and Lifelink. I like that. I think that's actually super cool. Definitely plays into this idea of building your own monsters. You get all these different options. It's an interesting challenge to figure out what combination is best under what circumstances. I like it. And stuff like, Menace, Death Touch kind of go hand in hand. Like, oh, they have to block with more than 2 things. Surprise, both of those things die. There's like lots of interesting combinations. Essence Scatter, I think we saw this in one of the videos that this card was coming back. Makes sense in this set. I'm glad they're printing powerful answers in the same set as the powerful cards themselves. instead of like 2 sets later, as had been the trend for a little bit. I think it just makes things more exciting. Instead of just like, well, this is the good deck. Baby Godzilla. Rune Reborn. That's what Baby Godzilla looks like. Even though he looks like a toy. That's his actual character design. Each creature spell you cast costs 1 less to cast if it has Mutate. Whenever you cast a creature spell, if it has Mutate, draw a card, then discard a card. Nice! So this is your big Mutate engine enabler. That's what it looks like normally. I see. And then we're caught up. Let's refresh one more time to see if we're... There's a new card already, but I kind of doubt it. I think we're caught up. Okay. Good first day of spoilers. Crazy, crazy set. All sorts of mechanics that, like this crossover thing is outrageous, but you know, I'm not actually that shocked. It's marketing synergy, you know? It's the sort of thing that a business person might say and then make a decision. And because it doesn't actually intrude upon the game any more than like cosmetic alters and stuff, I'm totally fine with it. I love Mutate. I think that's a very cool mechanic. Very bold, very like leads to interesting looking board states that we've never seen before, just big stacks of creatures and stuff. I like that they made it as unparasitic as possible, that you can go back and try to find some crazy Mutate pairings with creatures of the past. The only one that I'm very skeptical of is Companion. Just seems like it doesn't really add very much to the game. It only adds... It's one of those things, though, that I think because I very rarely play Magic compared to how much I read about Magic and think about Magic, for me it seems like an uninteresting game design philosophy to include something like this. But in terms of actually playing, it might be more fun to have something reliable to have a few of your deck choices taken away from you to make it easier. It could be very beginner friendly is I guess what I'm saying, that you can guarantee that you'll play this creature, you can guarantee that you're making deck building choices that have to be right in order for you to play this creature every time. And the whole game just seems a little simpler from that perspective. So, you know, okay, let's look forward to more spoilers. Bye-bye for now.